We're going to talk about connecting strategy to every part of your business. Sometimes when people think of a lean agile transformation, it's thought of with different strategies than the rest of the organization, and different portfolios and different value streams have different strategies. We're just going to say overarching the strategy for your company as a whole that you're going to pull in, that's going to influence everything that you do, or you hope it will influence everything that you do, is going to be a part. And we're going to talk about all of those connection pieces that we have. All right. So I would love to hear from you in chat in a moment. What is the first thing when you hear the word strategy? What's the first thing that comes to mind? Would love to hear any thoughts that you have on air. And if you want to just come off mute and share that, that's fine as well. What comes to mind?
A wish.
A wish. Okay.
Something that's not a tactic.
Not a tactic. Yep.
Roadmap.
Sorry, what was that last one?
Roadmap.
Roadmap. Okay.
Forward thinking.
Forward thinking. Yep. Any others?
A way to achieve an objective.
Yes. All right. So it's interesting. We teach in some of our classes too, like everyone has these different strategies, and it's really hard to connect those and really have that plan forward. I loved how I heard roadmap, that it's not tactical stuff. This is something at a different level in the organization. So one of my favorite quotes on strategy, I wanted to share with you tonight. And if you have not heard of Patrick Lencioni, he is a leadership coach. He founded the Table Group and just there's a number of just great books on strategy that he's written over the years. But his definition is an organization strategy is nothing more than the collection of intentional decisions that a company makes to give itself the best chance to thrive and differentiate from competitors. So when we're talking about these intentional decisions, we're going to talk about the work that you pull in, how you connect this to the values, the vision, everything you have in your organization. So I have my top 6, which I think are really those connection pieces to take those strategies forward, and ones that are used as you're developing your strategies. So I've been running the last few strategy sessions that we have at Scaled Agile with our leadership team. And so that's where a lot of this data is coming from, and the different things that I'm going to bring forward to you today that I'd love to get your thoughts on after this short presentation. So first, I want to talk about the first 3: vision, mission, and values. So my first question that I ask, I've talked about vision in a number of different talks, and the number one response I hear is, I'm not really sure what it is, or I don't know if it really connects directly to the work that I do, or, well, I think it's maybe for one part of the business. We were talking actually before the rest of you joined about some Disney Institute classes that I've been taking. And there's one in particular called their approach to leadership excellence. And I love the definition that they have for it. It's an ambitious view of the future that everyone in the organization can believe in. And it promises a future that is better than what now exists. This is not just, it's been like this and we're just going to continue on. It's, where do we want to be in the next couple of years? Where do we want to be in the next decade? Really having that forward-looking lens on. So our vision, which we socialized and came to this past February in Boulder, Colorado. I don't even remember if it was snowing or not, but we had our board, we had our senior leadership team, we had our extended leadership team, and this is what we came up with. So this is a fresh vision for it. And what this is so helpful to me for is anything that I do, any asset that I create, any presentation that I have, I want to make sure that I'm sharing a way that people can work differently to build their future. I'm not sure how many of you out there like me, and you've had some experience in the past with project management, program management. This is a totally different way of working. And our vision is really to help create the tools and the assets and bring forth all of this additional knowledge and these patterns that we're seeing that are working to help people work differently. So let's talk about mission for a minute. This is something else that we just refreshed this past February. And our mission is to continuously unlock better ways of working by providing the world's most trusted system for business agility. So the strategies that we have, and I'll get to strategies in a moment, these are the first 2 things that we looked at. And when we just had our sessions in September, we were looking at them again to say, hey, these really are the core of part of our business. As we're developing our forward-looking strategies for 2023 and out from there, and our roadmaps for our products and services and such, do they align with the vision and mission that we have? That's how we're going to be able to connect our strategies. So I have a question for you. few years ago was the first time I had a presentation on just strictly on values. But before that, I spent about 6 months probably talking to, well, at this point in time, hundreds of people to ask them if they knew the values of their organization. And over 80% did not. Now, I'm not going to call you out here and, put in chat if you know your values or not, right? But the point is, when we're creating strategies that are going to help us deliver on our vision and our mission and help differentiate ourselves in the market, values really play a part in that. And so if you don't know what they are, it's a great opportunity. Google it, search on the website. And if not, do what I did. Go all the way up the chain until you can get an answer on what your values are. So we have this overarching, I call it a value theme, because I believe that this really helps us navigate through a lot of the decisions that we make and a lot of the offerings that we have is doing all the good you can. A lot of times what I'm seeing now too is not just these values, but this social purpose that organizations are having. What are different things that you're doing, not just collectively for your customer base and for other customer bases that have companies that have similar products, but what are you doing for the planet? What are you doing for overarching the world that we live in? So values can play a big part in the strategies. So let's talk with the next 3: competitive environment, industry trends, and financial goals. Now, if any of you have taken the LPM class, you've taken the Implementing SAFe class, a number of the other classes, you've probably seen what's known as the bug, and it's from Jim Collins. We've adapted it, and it's all of the inputs and all of the outputs of creating a strategy and then creating your strategic themes for your lean agile transformation. These are 3 of them that are listed along with the first 3. So competitive environment. A lot of times we look at, okay, who are our direct competitors? But if the last few years taught us anything, we have to look beyond that. There's people that all of a sudden are in our industry that we never would have thought were in our industry 2 years ago, and that we're now competing with. So it could be a direct competitor, could be indirect. There's social changes that are going around that might impact the products that we sell, the way that we deliver them, any environmental changes. Workplace shifts is another one. And then my favorite, when I have asked senior leaders before in other organizations, well, who is our competition? How would you name them? And get varying perspectives. And some like, no, we're kind of winning. We don't have any competition. That's probably a dangerous place to be, right? Especially where we are right now. Industry and global trends. I was reading a recent Forbes article where they were talking about global trends. So a lot of times we look at what are some of the trends going on in our industry that we need to take into account as we're coming up with our next strategies. But now they're talking about these global trends. So again, things about the environment, just different human trends, different things that you're seeing around the globe. And this really extended my perspective because we've always looked at it, or at least I've always looked at it from just industry specific, whatever industry I'm in. And for those of you who don't know me, I used to be in the financial services industry. And I remember looking at, if I'm creating a strategy, I'm going to look at trends in my specific industry. But now I would invite you to really extend your lens to even look beyond your industry to other trends that you're seeing. And then financial goals, definitely an input. When we're creating the strategies, what we want to do, if we want to grow in a specific area, if we want to pull back in another, if we want to go completely into something different that we've never even thought of before, potentially in another industry, right? All of that plays a part. But your financial goals have to be at the forefront of this as well. Where do you hope to be next year? And how are you going to get there? What are some of the things that you have to offer, the products, the services, and so forth to get there? So in the same leadership class that I mentioned earlier from Disney, they did a really good job of thinking of when they were talking about vision, but I want to just shift it a little bit for this view. When I'm connecting my strategy, they had the long shot. You can see the castle in the distance. I was actually on a morning run. I think it was like a year ago, July, when I was there. But the long shot, leaders taking responsibility really for creating and communicating that vision. And then you have the medium shot. And this is where you have a picture of what you want to achieve, right? But now you have to start to identify the work that needs to be done. Think of the outcomes that you need. And then you start thinking about what those strategies are, making them inspirational, but challenging as well, right? This is not status quo. If I want to deliver and continue to be relevant and continue to grow and succeed as a company, what are some of the things that we need to focus on? And then that close-up shots is really, okay, what is the work? What are those epics when you look at it in safe terminology? What are those big pieces of work that we are going to start to initiate, start to prioritize, start to make decisions on that are going to help us move forward with our strategy? So looking at it from those three lenses was really helpful for us as an organization as well.